Before the sun and moon existed, the universe's only source of uncorrupted, divine light came from two colossal living entities, the Two Trees of Valinor, Laurelin and Telperion. They bathed the ancient world in golden and silver radiance. A primordial spirit known as Ungoliant stalked that early universe. As a physical manifestation of the void, she spun unlight, a heavy darkness that actively consumed radiance to feed a hunger that could never be satisfied. Allied with the Dark Lord Melkor, Ungoliant struck. As Melkor pierced the trees with his spear, the spider drained the glowing radiant sap directly from their wounds, plunging the world into total, suffocating darkness. The universe's original source of pure light had been shattered in its primal form. While the trees themselves were dead, a permanent cosmic imbalance was set into motion, leaving a shadow over the world that could only be challenged by the few fragments that remained. A fraction of the tree's light was locked inside three indestructible jewels, the Silmarils, before they withered completely. Following one jewel, we see it carried out of the ruined world and placed high in the heavens, becoming the Star of Arendil. Hanging in the night sky, this star served as an untouchable beacon. It preserved the First Age's pure light far above the corrupted earth, safe from the reach of the void. To survive the ancient wars, the divine light had to be exiled. It remained trapped in the vacuum of space, out of reach for any mortals struggling in the shadows below. Conversing thousands of years later, in the Third Age, the elven realm of Lothlorien held the last earthly connection to that ancient light. The Elf Queen Galadriel maintained a sanctuary where the memory of the First Age still lingered. This geometric breakdown illustrates how Galadriel harnessed that distant beacon. By using enchanted water in her fountain, she caught, held, and concentrated the direct reflection of Arendil's star, siphoning its radiation into a smaller vessel. She sealed this starlight-infused water inside a portable crystal glass. This created the Phial of Galadriel, bottling the divine, uncorrupted radiation of the two trees into a physical object. Galadriel handed this ancient cosmic artifact to Frodo Baggins. The immense power of the universe's oldest light was now entrusted to a fragile, mortal hobbit. The distance between the giver and the receiver was immense. An artifact of high-order cosmic power was now being carried by a gardener from the Shire, creating an encounter where the scale of the light far outweighed the strength of its bearer. Far from the safety of the elven woods, the borders of Mordor were choked by the unyielding, decaying darkness of the pass of Cirith Ungol. Dwelling in that pass was Shelob. She was the greatest direct offspring of Ungoliant, the original light devourer from the First Age. Shelob inherited her mother's biological imperative. She consumed living creatures and vomited literal darkness, perpetuating her ancestors' cosmic hunger. Her network of caves functioned as a biological anti-light environment. It was a physical tomb, built to extinguish hope and slowly digest anything that wandered into the gloom. Frodo was carrying the only surviving piece of the light that once blinded Ungoliant, directly into the territory of her greatest child. The two ancient bloodlines were about to cross paths again, far from the eyes of the world. The trap closed quickly. Shelob's venom paralyzed Frodo, encasing him in thick webs, and the quest to destroy the ring appeared to be completely swallowed by the void. In a desperate defense of his master, Samwise Gamgee retrieved the discarded crystal glass. A hobbit from the Shire stepped into the role of the light-bearer. When Sam activated the phial in the unlit tunnels of Shelob's lair, it detonated as a physical shockwave of divine radiation. Shelob's biological reaction was instantaneous. Her dark-adapted senses, honed over millennia in the night of the caves, were severely burned by the sudden exposure, causing her to recoil in agonizing pain. Two elemental forces, the divine light of Valinor and the primordial void, were now clashing violently in the dirt of Mordor. The specific nature of Shelob's pain stemmed directly from her bloodline. The phial contained the exact uncorrupted radiation of the two trees, the very same light her ancestor, Ungoliant, had failed to completely consume. Sheila possessed a thick, heavily scarred hide that deflected mortal steel. However, that physical armor was rendered completely useless against the spiritual, elemental burning of the starglass. Blinded and blistering, the monster retreated deep into the shadows of her caves. The ancestral purity of the light overpowered her, forcing the creature to flee. The survival of the phial proved that the void, no matter how ancient or all-consuming, could not extinguish Arda's purest light. The divine energy endured, capable of breaking the deepest darkness, even when carried by the smallest of hands.